Hello and welcome to A to Geeks. Today we're going to be talking about the new Sonic the Hedgehog movie and all things Sonic the Hedgehog. So both myself and Andy were born in the 80s. We grew up with the Sonic the Hedgehog games and also the comic book and the cartoon, and we've both just recently seen the new movie. Now the new movie caused a lot of headlines because when it was originally released, the trailer was absolutely panned.
Look at this! I took 9 million steps today.
So the character designs for Sonic the Hedgehog, for me, it's always going to be difficult to integrate those into the live action.
Yeah, I think they tried to add too much realism into the original design.
Yeah, the
and
teeth.
I mean, he's still got the teeth now, they're just not as creepy.
Yeah, exactly,
There was just something about it that just didn't sit right. But for the trailer, it was the use of Gangster's Paradise, which didn't feature in the film anyway.
No,
it was just a weird, it was just a weird mishmash.
Yeah.
If I had to pick out two things from the 90s that were really important to me as a child, it was Jim Carrey movies and Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
So it was like the perfect combination, and then it was just a bit disappointing watching the trailer.
Yeah, because as good as Jim Carrey's performance was, even in that initial trailer, it's pointless really when you look at the Sonic the Hedgehog performance, which was, I know, it's almost beyond words. You have to see it to believe it, especially if you put the two side by side. I mean, it's almost no contest, It's just not Sonic the Hedgehog, is it?
Yeah, it looked like the parts had been taken for Sonic and just hadn't been put together properly.
One of the features that I really like that they improved upon were his eyes and his eyebrows, because it enabled them to showcase his emotions better, his expressions, and I think that made him a little bit more like the Sonic the Hedgehog that we know.
I mean, at first, I'll be honest, I was quite sceptical about the whole redesign thing. I wasn't sure if it was like a marketing ploy, because how many people must that original design have gone by before the trailer's ready and it's been put out there into the world?
That would mean that the bigwigs in Hollywood have actually had a marketing plan and a brain, which I don't think they do. By the way, this is the most highest-grossing opening weekend for a video game movie already. So, people have gone to see it, and I imagine a lot of them just to see.
Yeah, in force as well. I mean, we went to see it on a Saturday afternoon, me and my son, and the cinema was packed, which I'm not sure if that would have been the case without all the publicity behind it and the redesign.
Wow, massive fan backlash. Movie's been delayed. They're holding their hands up. That is it doesn't happen.
No.
You kind of wish it had happened with a fair few films in the past.
Super Mario Brothers, I'm looking at you.
Jesus Christ.
Before time runs out.
So why are two guys in their early 30s, talking about a children's movie? Well, obviously Sonic the Hedgehog has roots right back through to the 80s, and I wanted to, before we go into detail, it definitely is a movie that has nostalgic feels.
Yeah.
So if you played the games, you'll definitely enjoy it more so than if you didn't.
There was the animated series that in the UK was broadcast on Channel 4.
Yeah.
I think on breakfast TV at about 7 a.m. it would be on.
Like that, yeah.
I remember that I used to, every morning I would get up and sit by the VCR to record it.
Yeah. Another medium that Sonic is well known for is Sonic the Comic, which is something I religiously collected. I loved it because it really opened up a lot more of the universe of the Sonic folklore, the characters. It really dived really quite deep into the Chaos Emeralds and all the different worlds. So going into this movie, I wanted to talk a little bit about what we expected, because it was very easy to expect just another, money-grabbing, badly CGI'd kids film, and especially a point we spoke about previously was that how do you take these characters and bring them to live action? And it was always going to be a challenge. And that obviously was the case with the trailer because of the backlash, and they thankfully corrected that.
It was a tricky one. I wasn't quite sure really what to expect. I was kind of nervous about what it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because there was the possibility of it being great.
Yeah.
Or just terrible. I don't think there was going to be a middle ground.
So the movie takes place with Sonic travelling from his own universe, from an unknown threat. Now, I don't know if you picked up on it, but it looked very much like Knuckles' clan.
Yeah, the Echidna tribe, definitely,
That's
100%.
I know they all had masks on, but
from behind you could see like
they're like dreadlocks.
The red colour as well.
Now, little known fact, Knuckles is my favourite Sonic character.
Yeah?
Yeah, got him tattooed on my arm. It was so easy for the human characters. Tom,
his dentist calls him Tim. And
Yeah.
Sonic calls him Donut Lord.
There you go. Yeah. So it was so easy for Donut Lord to come across as a cheesy, stereotypical, like uninteresting character. Just some human element to add to the Sonic story. But actually, I liked him.
Yeah?
I really did. Yeah, there was a couple of like very witty lines in there for him.
Yeah, James
Well-
Marsden at first I thought was a strange choice, but it actually kind of worked.
Yeah, I think it did. Yeah.
I agree. I think the voice acting for Sonic as well, it matched perfectly. Like it wasn't too far removed from the TV series as well.
Yeah, I particularly liked, and a lot of the reviews from critiques have come back, that the film is really held up by Jim Carrey's performance, which we kind of expected, let's be honest.
Yeah.
And what were your thoughts on Dr. Robotnik, which I'm so glad they kept that name.
But they
because-
did have the Eggman reference.
Yeah, and obviously by the end of the film, you know, there's the big spoiler, but we see Dr. Robotnik in his true form.
Yeah,
You know?
that's his downfall.
Yeah,
so like
he did.
in the video games, it's always like they're arch enemies, right?
Arch nemesis.
But
yeah,
you never
yeah.
really see why. But
Why or
really,
where it came from.
Like Sonic has like made him completely insane, like,
Yeah.
because he can't catch him. Not just good performances, but good writing there with the character as
Yeah.
well. Kind of like going back to him growing up in an orphanage, which was thrown in there.
Yeah,
like,
just
just randomly thrown in there.
Yeah.
So it kind of added that human element
Yeah.
to Robotnik, which we've never seen before. So he's kind of like the villain that you want to lose, but you kind of like him at the same time.
Yeah, we didn't want him to, certainly didn't want him to be killed off or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Yeah.
Not that he would, but you
No.
know.
There was always the thought that there would be a post-credit scene with Sonic, and it's
Yeah.
something that I usually sit around and wait for. But the movie had held its own at this point, and I wasn't really sure what to expect. So
Yeah.
when the portal opens up, and the shadow of someone jumps out,
Yeah.
and you just see the orange leg straight
Yeah,
away.
yeah,
It's like I didn't think I could have been happier. Like
You know, I completely forgot about Tails.
yeah, Tails wasn't needed in this
No,
story, so
definitely
it was just the icing on the
Yeah.
cake. If I'm honest, I don't think he would have been part of the original movie. I think he's been added just as that icing on the cake at the end,
Yeah,
just to keep the
please all the
fans,
Sonic fans.
just to keep the fans really happy.
Because
at
we're
the end.
obviously a very, angry, aggressive bunch off the back of the first trailer.
The voice for Tails was great as well. Only like
Perfect.
one line, but
Yeah.
it just kind of ticked yet another box. But there,
Yeah.
there was a lot of those little things that were thrown in there, like the sound from the video game when Sonic dropped his bag of rings on the
Yeah,
floor. It was
yeah,
just
it was so
the
good.
perfect. You can't have any other sound than
No,
that sound.
no.
And if you grew up in the 80s or 90s, you'll know what that sound is. There's a couple of niggles, but you just have to kind of let them go.
Yeah, definitely.
I think there was a
definitely.
couple of things that kind of, there's a few plot holes, like
Yeah.
to put it mildly, but
Definitely.
either way, it was a great film.
Some of the other things we were thinking about that weren't really drawn upon were the Chaos Emeralds.
Yeah, they didn't make a feature at all in the film, so they've got that to hold on to retain for another movie. I mean, how would you rate the film if you could give it a rating out of 10?
Out of 10, I would say it was a solid 7 for what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a kids' film, video game film. You know they don't do well. If you think back to games like films like Doom and Resident Evil and all these terrible adaptions, and I think they rose to the challenge of bringing these animated characters into live action. It's not easy, especially with Sonic the Hedgehog, because although he's a hedgehog, he doesn't look like a hedgehog. Calling him a blue devil or an alien, it worked.
Yeah.
It was like the viewer's disbelief was suspended because we were dealing with it in the same way the townspeople were.
Yeah. I think if I was to class it in its genre, I'd give it 8.5. Like,
Really? Okay, generous.
a lot higher. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just because it's that all-rounder. It ticks all those boxes
Yeah,
for the
definitely.
adults, for the kids. It's
If I asked my kids, they'd probably go a lot higher. Guys, thanks so much for tuning into this movie review of Sonic the Hedgehog and a little look at a few of the other things he's appeared in over the years. Don't forget to subscribe to catch more awesome content from the guys here at A to G, and we'll see you soon. Until then, keep it geeky.